To produce 85% of the budget with 65% of the workforce, fantastic result, really pleased. We're sitting today with nearly double the cash that we thought we were going to have. Even though we didn't produce the ounces, we actually have enjoyed a tremendous run. It's continuing. We don't see any reason why Q3 won't be similar to Q2.
The grade's gone down. I mean, it's sitting at just below 6 grams. You're normally typically around 8 there or thereabouts. I mean, what's happening?
Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. First of all, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. It helps us understand which companies you think we should be spending our time, money and effort on for you. And do leave your comments below. It helps us understand the sorts of questions you think we should be asking, how you think we've done, and of course, what you think of the company. You can also catch this as a podcast, an article and a transcription on cruxinvestor.com. And of course, for our Crux Investor Club members, you get early access to this video. And if you haven't already done so, please click the button in the corner of the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, for more videos like this, click the notification bell. We caught up earlier today with Mike Hodgson, who's the CEO of Serabi Gold. They are an AIM-listed company with gold assets in Brazil. Pretty tough times in Brazil at the moment, but they brought out their quarterly numbers and hit about 85% of their original 2020 guidance, which is pretty exceptional under the circumstances. They've got about 35% of their crew off camp, but everyone else is putting in a shift and making up for all of the others. We talked to Mike about what it looks like going forward. So, exceptional to be able to deliver, 8,500 ounces yet again. Want to see where they are with Coringa and how that's developing. What are they waiting for? And something that I particularly want to understand more about is the exploration potential here. So we talk about how the ore sorter has or hasn't contributed, what it's going to be able to do moving forward, and a lot of other topics. So take a look in the description below, some of the areas that we cover. If anything interesting in particular, click the timestamp beside that topic. That's called a timestamp, and that jumps you to that part of the interview. Otherwise, enjoy what Mike has to say. Mike, how are you doing, sir?
Very well, Matt. Nice to talk to you again.
So you're still home officing, are you?
Yes, I'm not quite sure when we're going to sort of get back into the London office, but no, I think we're all sort of pretty used to this new way of working, and we're having regular sort of conversations amongst ourselves, and I'm on the phone to site an awful lot. So yeah, it's okay. It's working
out
well.
Good. Okay. We saw a press release come out this morning talking about the this quarter's numbers. What do you make of them? Are you happy with them?
In the circumstances, more than happy. I think I wrote in the press release, totally delighted, to be honest. I think when you actually consider, I think like many companies, where we were at the beginning of the second quarter, and where we might find ourselves by the end of the quarter, I think to actually come out with 85% of our budgeted production is a miraculous result. As we've talked before and we've already put into the market, we took measures to really make sure that the safety of our workforce was paramount. We decided to remove non-essential workers from the site to create space so we could socially distance our workers. We decided to remove anyone and send them home who was older. That sounds ageist, but it was the right thing to do. Anyone who had a health issue. And so we essentially kept a young, fit, healthy workforce at the site. We introduced what rotation we were doing. The workforce was super flexible. They were restricting or limiting their rotation. So that's a risk, obviously. Every time there's someone coming in or coming out, we reduced that to a minimum. And those coming in were all tested. We got all of the kits and we had them all tested and checked them for symptoms. So then, of course, people coming in, we knew were, in good shape, healthy. That's it. And we've actually managed to basically keep the camp clear and safe, and it's a great achievement. I was really quite concerned that we were going to really struggle with this. So to come out of that with 8,500 ounces was terrific. And look, it has meant some things have got shelved. Exploration, for example, has been shelved. A lot of the project work we were doing, but we've kept the core business going. And to produce 85% of the budget with 65% of the workforce, fantastic result. Really pleased.
Okay, I buy that, but I also noticed that the grade's gone down. It's sitting at just below 6 grams. You're normally typically around 8 there or thereabouts. What's happening?
Well, little bit of a technical sort of explanation here. The ore sorter, we spent a lot of time testing this ore sorter. We know it works terrifically well, and it is designed to work on low-grade material. So we set the mine up at the end of 2019 to start mining lower grade areas, put in more development, which by its nature is lower grade, it's more diluted, and to feed the sorter with it. So we committed to these areas. So the plan was, quite simplistically, the plant can do 45,000 tons per quarter. The mine can do more. The intention was to actually mine, say, 55,000 tons per quarter and feed that additional material into the ore sorter to screen it, to make the best 45,000 tons to go to the plant. Now, obviously, we've basically sent home 35% of our workforce. So we were still committed to the same lower grade areas in the mine, but we actually just couldn't, let's say, over mine because we didn't have the workforce. And so essentially the ore sorter has been somewhat parked for, used minimally, let's say, for the last 2 months. So we haven't been able to take the advantage of it. So that sort of raw mine material has gone straight from the mine to the plant without being sorted. So that's why the grade has basically gone from 7.5 down to just around 6. It will be back, no problem, because in Q3 and more so in Q4, when we get the mining rate back up again, we'll be over mining, we'll be passing through the sorter, and the grade will be coming back up. The thing is, you just can't, in a mine, and people will understand with an underground mine, you just can't, because of an event, you just can't suddenly stop over here and mine high grade over there. You eat what you kill, you're committed to an area, and we set this up, nobody knew this was going to happen, and we were therefore into areas that were lower grade anyway, and we can't suddenly, I say, being plant constrained, being with a sort of workforce constraint with the enforced reduction, we didn't do so well. But that said, I still think it's a great result, and no fear, we'll be back in good shape and towards the end of the year, and that all sort will be working very, very hard.
And what do you know? So you gave some idea last time we spoke about the ore sorter. I mean, you said it's been used minimally, but so what do you know about its capabilities? Is it going to be able to significantly enhance your production going forward?
Well, year to date, it's basically lifting the grade around 7 times. The thing about it is, what you've got to remember is it does come at a price. It's not a perfect piece of equipment. You still get losses with it. So, for example, I think broadly speaking, we fed it with about sort of 3,000 tons so far at a grade of around 2 grams, and it's turned 3,000 tons at 2 grams into sort of 500 tons at 9 grams, which is real high grade feed. But it's created 2,500 tons of low grade. But you do get losses in that low grade. So when you're in a situation like we've been for the last 2 months, what's coming out of the mine the plant can handle, you don't really want to pass that through the ore sorter, because you will be losing gold if you do. The whole purpose of the ore sorter was actually to treat surplus production, and we haven't had surplus production in Q2 because of the manpower reduction. That's the key. We will have surplus production again in Q4, later Q3 and Q4. So this is when it will be used again.
Okay, so and again, sorry to stick with the ore sorter, but people do like to understand what the capabilities are. So do you think the ore sorter, given the information that you have about it now, will allow you to kind of play some level of catch up if you do get back to some sense of normality by the end of the year, or even Q1 next year?
Yeah, no, I think it gives us an ability to increase our annual ounces by 15 to 20%. So I think that's it. If we'd actually not had this and we kept going normally, we would have produced in Q2, probably 10,500. It will allow us to do an extra 2,000, 1,500, 2,000 ounces per quarter. That's what we know from test work and what it did start doing in Q1. That's what it will give us. So instead of doing we're nominally a 40,000 ounce limited operation, because that's what the plant can do today. If you screen 25% of your feed before it goes to the plant through the ore sorter, that 40,000 ounces per year becomes 48,000 ounces per year. That's where we're going.
Okay. So I guess you're very, very keen to kind of get back to normality in that case.
Yeah.
Tell me about the planning. Okay, so I get the 8,500 ounces, and you're pleased with that. You said you're pleased with it. and under the current circumstances, you're probably right to be pleased with it. But we talked about what's going on with Coringa. We're going to get the new assets. We're not going to be able to say that soon because you've been on it a while. Where are you with that? Because I want to join up the dots here a little bit for people. So where are you with Coringa?
Coringa, we behind the scenes, we obviously had our public hearing back in February. I mean, I'm absolutely relieved that we actually got that done because that was a huge milestone. And it's truth, if we'd been a month later, we'd be stuck in limbo now completely with getting a public hearing. Can you imagine a public hearing now with social distance? So to get that done was huge, absolutely huge. And it allowed us in the meantime to do a lot of the follow-up work, which has been toing and froing with the Environmental Agency, answering their final questions on environmental impact, adjustments to the EIA, etc. Because this environmental agency, SEMAS as they're called, these are the guys who ultimately have got to sign on a piece of paper to the court saying, we fully recommend that Serabi are given the preliminary license. And this is the key license for any mining operation in Brazil. It's the one where you need public support, authority support, agency support, court support, everyone. Once you get this one, the remaining licenses are basically procedural, really. So we're so close. And the fact we've now been going to and fro with SEMAS in the background doing this, I was on the call on Friday, we're so close to getting these guys to basically, in fact, they're going to write the letter this week to the court. Now, the next step in all of this is the court, which is called Coringa. They have to meet to basically discuss the Serabi case, and they just look at the recommendation and go, well, okay, the guys that know, which are, that's called an environmental council claim. And they meet, but the fact that they're made up of the same people or part of the same people that have actually just advised that they recommend the license be granted to the company, we're very hopeful that's going to happen. The key is just getting that meeting to occur. Obviously, the crisis is making it difficult for those guys to physically meet. I understand that they've never actually met with Zoom before, and it's something they're now considering. So we're hoping it is going to be a first for us, and we're actually going to get our court hearing before the end of this quarter, and we will get our preliminary license at Coringa, which will be just great. We are somewhat. It's somewhat out of our control, but we've done everything now, and we're just waiting for that meeting to occur. That's
okay. So the market got excited when you decided to buy Coringa because it's almost a cookie cutter asset with Palito. It's high grade underground mining, which you understand how to do that. You do it very well. I got excited though when you started talking to me last time we spoke about exploration. Okay, because again, you've got two assets, but in between, you've also got a big land package here. You've got some anomalies, which you talked to me about. And to me, that struck me as even more exciting than Coringa. With no disrespect to Coringa, Coringa will produce cash and you'll do well there. But talk to me about what you've been able to do since we spoke, because obviously you still haven't got people back on site. You haven't got the exploration team on site. But has your thinking evolved in terms of how you're going to approach this over the next couple of quarters?
Well, I want to talk about the Palito and Sao Chico exploration, but before you walk away from Coringa itself, which I've never talked to you about before, has amazing exploration potential upside around it.
Talk to me about that then.
It's a Garimpo that produced, an artisanal mine that produced 300,000 ounces of gold, and it's a huge potential. So I don't want to sort of underplay Coringa. It's a producing asset, but it can be so much more. But anyway, but you're absolutely right. We were flying with exploration before the pandemic really meant that we would actually have to stop. And unfortunately, the exploration guys, as is often the case, when something negative happens, like the company's got no money, which wasn't our case, but there's some kind of need, they're the guys that get stopped. And unfortunately, it was with huge reluctance that we stopped the drilling at Palito and Sao Chico. But we needed the bed space, as I explained before. We have a camp good for 360 people in normal conditions. In pandemic conditions, we don't have a camp to accommodate those people. So the exploration people, we had to kick them out of bed and say, sorry guys, you're going to have to go home for a few months because we need the space for the producing guys and the workforce to actually have more social space. So that was the key, and everyone understood it, keeping the workforce safe, etc. The right thing to do. pleased to say, I mean, you remember that we were doing basically taking over area. There were three. The exploration was kind of on three fronts. The main one we were doing at South Chica, we were doing deep drilling in the mine itself, exploration drilling, going tremendously well, get some fantastic mineable intersections, 200 meters below our feet, below our lowest level. So it's going down at depth, which is great. So it's open and going that direction. And of course, we were drilling to the west, particularly of the main deposit, and we had done step-out drilling going up to nearly 400 meters west of the mine limit, which basically doubles the strike length of the deposit. And then a further 700 meters, we have these geophysical anomalies, which we found from the survey in 2018, which we got our first intersections into those bearing gold over mineable width. So, you know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to sort of go, hang on a minute, this all lines up, and if it all joins up, we've got a very nice 2 kilometer long potential ore zone here. And, you know, that's going to, if that all comes through with drilling and proving up, we are looking at a resource that can certainly support a mineable rate far greater than what we do today, which then brings the question, are you still going to keep trucking ore from South Chica all the way to Palito? I mean, surely you're going to want to put some kind of pre-concentration or a little plant down here. We're not there yet, but this question needs answering. Palito, or between Palito and South Chica, the other big work that we did was the geochemical program we were doing. And that was, came to the culmination of that in April time. And we found we got this tremendous copper anomaly, soil anomaly, which sits over a big geophysics anomaly. And we got very excited about that because that was really, that may show potential of many deposits like Palito and South Chica, but multiple ones. But it could also be an indicator of bigger, more, you know, large scale type mineralization, which is something which, you know, mining high grade veins is great, but if we can find some scale in there too, will be brilliant. And two in particular lie to the south of Palito called Juca and Calico. And these we've actually done more work on, you know, tighter space geochemistry, etc. And they've got really nice coincidental, really nice high grade gold anomalies in the geochemistry as well. And these really do look like Palito lookalikes, both of them. So, and the beauty about those two is they're only 5Ks from Palito. So again, you're looking at that and thinking, well, we drill those out. So we've got a really interesting conundrum. It's almost like a race between, you know, what's actually happening at South Chica, what's going to happen at Juca and Calico, and, you know, where's the plant expansion going to be? Because today we have a plant that's too small. The ore sorter liberated some space, but it's not going to liberate. If these things start coming off, it won't be able to handle what the mining can throw at it. We do need to expand the plant somewhere. The question is, we don't know where. The only way we're going to find out is push on with the exploration. So I'm dead keen to get going with that. Hopefully we're going to get everyone back at site probably in September, the contractors, and we'll be back to where we left off, and we'll.
So how do you go about planning something like that? Because again, we get into some juicy, interesting area. Because as you say, if the plant isn't big enough to deal with the potentially, you've got to work out how you finance all of this as well. Does this come out of cash flow? And you know, what is the opportunity that it opens up? Do you know what I mean? Because you know, people want to know: are we talking about some sort of fundraise, or are we talking about actually we're producing enough cash to actually develop this into the next iteration, the next step change in the company's organic growth? Yeah,
so certainly what I just explained to you, that's coming out of cash flow. We're not looking at.
Okay, good.
We're not doing. Come to build the plant, we'll have to see where we are. But when we do put a plant in, or wherever we might put it, now all that exploration work that we're talking about, that's coming out of cash flow. I mean, I didn't really talk about that earlier on, but you know, on the cash side, I mean, people will notice in the press release. I mean, we started the quarter with $9 million in the bank. We ended the quarter with $9.6 million in the bank. We paid off Sprott. We're debt free. We pay out of cash flow. We also, out that quarter, paid out nearly $4 million to Sprott. So the irony was, you know, despite the backdrop of COVID and all the problems, financially, Q2 2020 was Serabi's most successful quarter on record, which is, the irony is, you know, it's remarkable. So we're sitting today with nearly double the cash that we thought we were going to have, whether we're in the budget. Even though we didn't produce the ounces, we actually have enjoyed a tremendous run. It's continuing. We don't see any reason why Q3 won't be similar to Q2, and we're hoping to be back to normal by Q4 and going into next year. So I don't see if current economic conditions, we can fund all this out of cash flow.
Okay, well that's interesting. So Q3, well we don't know what Q3 holds here. We're in the middle of it. But you think by Q4 you're taking steps to ensure that you can get the rest of the people back on site? I mean, is that a process you've started? I mean, what's that look like?
Indeed, no. We've been basically expanding the camp. We've been making more lodges for people to basically be accommodated in much better socially distanced conditions. So the whole idea is we're just having to make the camp half as big again to accommodate the original 360 people back at site under much better conditions in terms of socially distancing, etc. So we think we can have all that done by the end of August. So we would like to think in September will be a kind of a month of transition. We should be able to get to Q4 with a resumption of normal conditions. I mean, we'll be testing forever, I think, but that's just and the huge difference which we've actually enjoyed is we've been rotating our workforce. If there's anything good that's come out of this crisis, we've been rotating our workforce 20-10, 20 days in the camp, 10 days out. We've all agreed, the workforce has agreed, the unions have agreed, let's can that, we're going to go 40-20. So people are coming 40 days at site and 20 days on break. That means half as many changeovers, that means half as much travel cost for us, and it allows people once they get to site to really get their teeth into the job and do work for 40 days, and then when they go home, they have a good rest 20 days. We've been wanting to do this for like about 2 or 3 years. Not a chance. But because of the crisis, everyone now realizes this is the way to work. So that's a great result for us.
That's amazing. I think there's a lot of people in a lot of different sectors are going to have to find a new way of working, and obviously that does sound like a good solution for you guys. So what I'm hearing is production numbers are good. You're happy with what you've got. I'm hearing that when the ore sorter comes back online, whenever you've got everyone back at site, that should enhance your numbers by 15%. By Q4, you hope to have everyone back up and running, so exploration can start again. That's the bit that I'm really excited about. You're waiting on that permitting license on Coringa. Obviously, once again people feel safe enough to get back to the office and they can give you that. That'll be fantastic. I mean, what else have we got to look forward to? I know you're in planning mode, but for investors, what do you think? Is there anything more that they should be looking forward to here?
If the cash flow, if the economic conditions are right, there's nothing to stop us starting at Coringa with the underground mine. I mean, that's the reason we didn't start. We were poised to start in end of Q2. We were just worried about the money situation. The irony is we've actually got the money to do it, but we didn't want to start another. We didn't want to just in the middle of all of this. It's been enough of a challenge to actually keep people safe, Palito and South Chico, to have another centre where we're going to have another area of concern and tracking the virus and all that. Let's let the dust settle on all this before we start that. So as soon as we think it's safe enough, we'll start at Coringa. We'll start that decline. We'll start going underground. That's it. And I'm really hopeful that's going to be before the end of this year. And that'll be a great. It's always great fun starting a mine.
Fantastic. Mike, good update. I mean, well done with the numbers. As you say, it's in a tough environment. We speak to a lot of companies struggling. You've done well to keep the ounces coming in and the cash coming in and pay down debt. I like that. Well, stay in touch with us. Let us know how you get on. As things progress, be delighted to take that phone call from you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Matt.